Hello, this is Todd Luck, and this is a year-end update for 2020. And so this channel is basically just devoted to things that I'm interested in and that I'm doing at the moment, comic books and shows and video games. Unfortunately, the video games, my computer is getting a lot worse. My home computer is on its last legs. That's why I record most of this stuff with an iPad because it wouldn't be able to handle the video game videos anymore. And that's definitely one of my regrets for the pandemic, that I did not get a new computer and get all my stuff transferred onto a new computer before the pandemic hit. I do look forward to when we all take our masks off, to going out and buying a new computer that functions well. That is Todd's number one thing that he's doing once we get the all clear. But I have been able to do videos like this where I'm just talking to you and reviewing comic books. And I've mainly been reviewing Edgar Rice Burroughs comics from American mythology. They do Land of Time Forgotten, Carson of Venus, Monster Men, and they've been really, really good this year. And I hope that continues next year. Definitely plan to continue those reviews. The Marvel comics I've been reviewing, which has basically been Ultraman and Conan, haven't been as happy with. I'll probably give the next series for both of those a try, but no promises going forward on those, because at $4 a pop, I really need to like what I'm reading. So we'll see where we go from there. And I'm sure I'll find some other things to make videos of. I'll probably be doing some retro reviews of, comics or maybe shows that people aren't talking about, and just see, throw it out there. Because, like I did a video review of the Filmation Tarzan, just spontaneously watched that show. I got the first season of it on DVD and just decided to do a review of it. And I've gotten some nice comments on that, so it would be kind of interesting just to throw stuff out there and see if anyone bites. And on comics, I'll probably be going back to the format where I do a review of the first issue of something, and then once the plot line or miniseries wraps up, I'll do a review of the whole miniseries or plot line. But I did change to doing issue by issue reviews because of the pause. I wanted to let people know comics were back, but obviously I think by now they figured that out, and it is a little bit time consuming and a little bit redundant. It is, if I hate a series, it is kind of fun to watch that slow motion train wreck of frustration, but it is a little redundant. It's like, hey, I hated the third issue. By the way, I also hate the fourth issue. It's just easier to just do a review at the end and be like, yeah, I hated all of that. So I'll probably be ramping down video production. That's another thing, to doing the issue by issue reviews kind of was a little more work than I was expecting. So I'll probably be doing a few less videos, at least, starting out next year. We'll see, where the spirit takes me. But, because I really, I'm trying to focus again on my writing. That is my main hobby right now. It's gotten pretty crazy at work, so there are actually some stretches where I haven't written for like a day or several days, which is kind of crazy considering I've been like writing on my comic book plots every day, as a hobby, just, getting a little bit down. And I still really enjoy doing them. I'm still working on the superhero universe. Those characters just keep telling you stories, and I'm probably looking at wrapping it up maybe by April. It usually takes me a couple years when I go back and rework this stuff, so it's not too surprising it's going to take a couple years. But it's been good stuff. I wrapped up the apocalyptic end of the world plot line I'd been working on, which was really weird because it kind of came true in some aspects. I'm writing about a plague, and then COVID-19 happens and stuff. And then, now I'm kind of in this era after that that's kind of an era of division and unrest. And then some of that starts happening too. Like I literally wrote a scene where there was these superpowered individuals who were protesting, and they were literally blocking the highway. And of course, that happened. And it's and another story that I hadn't written yet, but I have at this point had some characters basically kicking the police and the authorities out of a part of the city and kind of taking over, managing crime for that part of the city, which essentially happened in real life with the autonomous zones. So it's still kind of weird how you write stuff, and sometimes it happens in real life, and I'm sort of scared to keep going because some of the stories I have don't I plan to write don't have happy endings, but but they're still fun to write, and there's a lot of great creative muscles are being flexed, and it's amazing how many different character types you can write, and how many different storylines, and how you can make them all different and things like that. It's a hobby, it's not something I can imagine publishing right now, especially with the current industry. It's written very old school, with the idea of, the series is going to keep going for 3 years and be able to tell, these long stories with, developing, these characters for years and years. Maybe, I don't know though. I mean, I would like to, publish some stuff eventually. And, hopefully soon I'll get around to the stuff that would be a little easier to publish, that the stuff that doesn't require, decades to tell. And as I said, work has gotten pretty crazy. I work as a communication specialist for a local county government. And the kind of weird thing about my position is it's a brand new one, and we only hired me. And this is not necessarily the best time to be a one-man department. County government has the health department, so they've been relying on me to help them with COVID-19 communication, which, as you can imagine, has been a whole lot. There's also been a ton of communication about social distancing requirements and changes in services due to social distancing requirements. And I'm really glad that I'm still working from home. I mean, my workload has probably doubled, but I'm just glad I don't have to drive into the office, because that's like 25-minute round trip that I don't have time for anymore. And it also saves you time because I don't have to, go upstairs to the break room. I don't have to walk across the floor to go to the restroom. All that stuff is right there in my home. So it saves me, it at least saves me some time. And, if you're a business that's like kind of scared of letting your workers work from home, don't be. We've seen increase in productivity from people working at home. So it's worked out really well for us. And I'll just say that this has been a really exhausting year. I mean, not just professionally, but just, everything that's been going on. And I know it's easy to get discouraged. I know it's easy to look at the bad things. I know it's easy to be like, oh my God, everyone believes this many people died of COVID. But you need to keep things in perspective. You also need to keep in mind that this is something that we're all in together. And we've all been working to stop COVID-19. And if we didn't wear the mask, and we didn't practice social distancing, and we didn't take all the precautions we did, it would have been so much worse. I mean, you can go back and look at the Spanish flu pandemic and just see how bad it could have been. It could, that infected a large portion of the world's population, that killed way more millions of people. So we've been saving lives. Every single one of us, through the decisions we've made, have had an effect on other people's health. And we have been saving lives by wearing the masks and postponing our gatherings and not going to those rallies with a bunch of unmasked people, or those, crowded events. And, kind of maintaining our social distancing. We have been the solution to COVID-19. Obviously, guided by science, guided by, all the great, medical professionals that have been on the front lines and have put in the work and have been saving people's lives and learning about this disease and guiding us along the way. And there's just a lot of people who have put in a whole lot of overtime on this. I mean, I've got public health nurses having to call the close contacts of every single person who is diagnosed with COVID-19. And we have hundreds of cases now every day, hundreds of new cases. And I can't describe to you, like, I am tired, but what the work I'm getting off of this is a little trickle. It's like a little drip of water coming down from an ocean that is being poured on public health and doctors and hospitals. And those guys are the real heroes. But I mean, I think we all have been putting in our time. I think, we have all learned this year that we're all essential. We all make this world run. We create the world we live in. We're the ones who pick up the garbage and ring up people at that cash register so they can get food and other resources that they need. We're the ones who, fill those potholes. We're the ones that make this world run. And I think we all need to give ourselves a pat on the back. And I think we all need to kind of acknowledge that, there are things that divide us, but we are more united than we give ourselves credit for. And yeah, there are all kinds of nightmare scenarios we see on fictional movies and TV, but that's the reason why we don't become the Walking Dead, right? Because we're smart enough to take the precautions, because we're smart enough to make the plans and do what we need to do to stop a pandemic. And we also had a historic election with historic turnout that was very challenging and very trying for numerous reasons, everything from protecting voters from COVID-19 to some of the crazy conspiracy theories that were being floated out there. And I just want to put my highest thanks to every single person across the country who contributed to this election, whether you voted, whether you counted the votes, whether you helped certify the results. Hats off, you did an amazing job. And this year tested our democracy, and I think we've passed. So yeah, this has been a difficult year. I mean, for all of us. But again, I think you got to remember, even if we're apart, we're all in this together. And I want to thank everybody out there for everything you've done, for each other in this very, very difficult year. And, the sun will come out. There is light at the end of the tunnel. It's going to take a while to get everyone vaccinated. Dr. Fauci had what to me sounds a little optimistic that, we're going to get the all clear in middle of 2021. But I mean, I think it's safe to assume that, by the end of next year, things should return to normal. And I'm looking forward to that. I think we all are. But just, keep the faith, stay vigilant, wear your masks, practice social distancing. This isn't over yet, but it will be. And we're going to be the ones who conquer this thing. And we're going to be the ones who, continue to make this country a good place to live. All right, that's all my ramblings. Like and subscribe for more videos. And until next time, see ya.